One of the most common questions I get is, what kind of gear do I need to buy to get into voiceover? And my answer is always, well, what's your budget? So assuming you have a dedicated computer, I wanna show you some gear under $500 and under $1,000. And just keep in mind that none of the products here are sponsoring my video, so this is just my complete and honest opinion. Let's start with the first item, the most important one, and that is your audio interface. This is what you plug your microphone into, as well as your headphones. And the one I recommend is the Focusrite Scarlett Solo 3rd generation at $99. This one's pretty decent and really good for beginners. It actually sounds pretty good for such a cheap interface. So I suggest getting that one to get started. And the next thing you're gonna need is a microphone. So I suggest going with the Audio-Technica AT2020, also at $99. This is actually one of my backup microphones. I just kind of keep it around. I've had it for years. In case one of my microphones decides to die tomorrow, I'll have that as a backup. It's a pretty decent microphone. I've gotten really good results on it for just being a $99 microphone. It's pretty decent, so I suggest getting that one. The next thing you're gonna need is a pop filter. This typically goes right in front of the microphone and it protects your recording from plosives, which are your P's and B's. It's basically when your mouth projects air and goes into the microphone. It's one of those things that doesn't sound very pleasant, and once it gets in the recording, it's really hard to remove unless you have some really fancy restoration audio plugins, and I always suggest getting a pop filter. And for the purposes of this video, I don't have any experience with this particular brand, but it is a nylon pop filter by the brand of Rocket, or R-O-K-IT, however you say that. It's about $13.99, so feel free to grab that as a beginner pop filter. And the next thing you're gonna need is a pair of headphones. In this case, I'm going to suggest the Shure SRH440A. That one's about $99. I don't have any experience with these headphones either, but for the purposes of this tutorial, to make sure you're getting the best bang for your buck, Shure is a pretty decent brand, so I think going with those headphones is gonna be okay. The next item on the list is an XLR cable. You're gonna need something to plug your microphone into your interface. Oftentimes when you buy a microphone, it doesn't include an XLR cable, so I'm gonna suggest the OnStage HW-MC1220 at $10.69. I also don't have any experience with this type of XLR cable from that brand, but OnStage is known for their microphone stands, and I think I own one of those, so feel free to go with that. The next item on the list is a microphone stand. I suggest getting the Gator Frameworks Boom microphone stand with tripod base at $29.99 here on Sweetwater. And I suggest this type of boom microphone stand because if you get a desktop microphone stand, that's also okay, but you're gonna have less flexibility if you need to like move around, especially if you're about to use some acoustic treatment. You might have it set in a particular location of the room. And so having a microphone away from the acoustically treated environment is probably not the best suggestion. So that brings our grand total to $351.67. That means that we have $148.33 left over, which I would recommend for some DIY acoustic treatment like blankets at a local store nearby. One of the tricks I suggest is putting a blanket in front of your microphone as well as behind so those reflections are caught. And please, whatever you do, don't skip out on having some type of acoustic treatment. A lot of people tend to pour their money into the microphone, the interface, the headphones, and they completely forget about the acoustic treatment. You can actually get some really good results using cheap gear and some acoustic treatment. So what I suggest is just going online and looking at some DIY acoustic treatment options. That way you can use some of that leftover money to cover the acoustic treatment. Now this budget doesn't include the software that you're gonna need to use to record and produce these projects. Some options are Audacity and Pro Tools Intro. Those are free. Now just keep in mind that you're gonna be really limited on what you can do with these free softwares. So that's why I wanna dive into the next portion of this video, which is the next bracket of gear under $1,000. So if we use the equipment that I suggested in the first portion of the video, so our budget left over for acoustic treatment is $648.33, which brings me to my next point. I suggest getting the GIK Acoustics Portable Isolation Booth, which is about $345 and $30 of shipping, at least to my area and my zip code, which brings our total to $375.76. So if you decide that you're gonna purchase that booth, the leftover is $272.57 left for potentially your software, right? You're gonna need some software. My suggestion is going with the PreSonus Studio One 6th Artist version that is right now at $99.95. That brings our grand total to $827.38. The leftover budget is $172.62. You can either save that money or invest it in plugins. And why do I suggest investing in plugins? Well, third-party plugins, they tend to sound better than the stock plugins that come with your software. That's something that I've noticed over the course of the years, and I do have a set number of plugins that I use consistently, so here goes. The first one is the Renaissance AXX from Waves, the company Waves. And right now that is retailing at $29, and that one is a compressor. The next one is the Renaissance EQ, also at $29. I use it consistently for radio production and I really like how it sounds. The next one is the de-esser. It's just called de-esser from Waves, also at $29. The next one is the doubler. The doubler is a special effects plugin that allows you to sound like there's multiple voices. So that brings our plugin total to $116, which leaves you with $56 left over on the budget. So the grand total is $944 for everything you need, really. So that covers your gear and your software. If you have any suggestions for people that are looking for gear, leave them down in the comments. There are a different combination of different types of gear that's really cheap nowadays. So I would love to hear your opinion. If you know of some gear that's good and maybe cheaper than what I showed in this video, just leave me a comment down below. And that pretty much wraps up the video. If you know somebody who's looking to upgrade their gear or somebody who is looking to buy new equipment to get into radio post-production, then feel free to share this video. I want to add that I have a radio post-production course. I'll leave you a link down below in the description, and it goes into the very nitty-gritty of recording, EQ, compression, pretty much everything you need to know to get started as a radio producer. Thanks so much for watching. I really appreciate it if you hit the thumbs up on the video. That way the system recommends it to whoever is looking for new gear. Subscribe to the channel and turn on the bell notification if you haven't already so you don't miss whenever I post these videos. Thank you so much, and I'll see you on the next one.